Welcome back to my corner of the internet, guys. I am the Lucid Dream, and today's video is going to be a quick update about something that I posted on my community tab a couple of days ago. If you are unaware, Craig Hendry, otherwise known as the Temu version of David Koresh, is in jail because his bond has been revoked. First and foremost, before we get into it, I want to thank all of my channel members and subscribers. If you are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I would most certainly appreciate it, and every single time you do, somewhere out there, a frauditor cries. Let's go ahead and get into it.
All right. My name is Craig Hendry, citizen journalist reporting from the Vermilion County, Indiana jail, where I am being held as a political prisoner by the state of Indiana. More specifically, the public officials that inhabit the positions of power in this state. This is my 7th day as a prisoner in the jail. I'm not eating any of the food they are bringing me. The trays, I don't trust them. I don't trust my captors. I have not been checked on by any nurse or medical staff, and it is my 7th day, which is most likely their way of avoiding documenting my severe weight loss that is being precipitated by their chosen form of retaliation, what I would call torture. In my last court date, I appeared alongside my attorney, Elizabeth Smith. We were bamboozled when Judge Hunter Reese, that is my judge, announced that Sullivan County, Indiana, had issued a sealed warrant for my arrest. The judge then held a bond revocation hearing. Usually at these hearings, a judge hears from the state's attorney arguments as to why a bond should be revoked. That didn't happen in this case, though. The state's attorney, Bruce Ackerman, requested time to look at this case, at the new case from Sullivan County, before revoking my bond. My attorney, Elizabeth Smith, requested the same time to prepare a defense for a bond revocation hearing. At this time, neither the prosecutor nor my attorney had seen the charges or probable cause from Sullivan County, Indiana, which, to my knowledge, is still the case. So at the time of that hearing on the 16th, on October 16th in Vermilion County, it would have been impossible for either the state's attorney or my attorney to argue a bond revocation hearing. All right? The judge then, of his own volition, said, well, despite either side asking for more time before revoking the bond, I'm revoking it anyway. It is important to note that Judge Hunter Reese is an ex-law enforcement officer.
Oh my gosh, there is so much here, it's hard to know where to begin. First off, is he eating? Absolutely no idea, and I absolutely do not care. It is not that they are not providing him food. That is not torture. He is choosing not to eat what they bring him. If he wants to be a picky little bitch and not eat, and then complain about it on the internet because he wants to be a victim, that's a him problem. That is not anybody else's problem. That's a him problem. They are providing it. He doesn't want to eat it. They are also not obligated to provide medical care if he loses a pound. He has been in there a week. There wouldn't be any kind of significant weight loss in 7 days, at least not noticeably on his frame. And to be perfectly honest, I don't believe he's not eating. I don't believe a word that comes out of the man's mouth. But on to being a political prisoner. Here's the thing about being a political prisoner. It doesn't mean you're not guilty. Even if he wants to call himself a political prisoner, it does not mean that he is not guilty of what they are saying that he did. One of my favorite political prisoners in history was Mary, Queen of Scots. She was held for years by Queen Elizabeth I, until she was eventually executed for plotting against the crown. She was guilty of what they held her for. She was also a political prisoner. It doesn't make you innocent because you call yourself that. I do find it funny that he's talking about being a prisoner when he was actually charged with confinement with his domestic violence crap last year. Then he's talking about how his lawyer and him were completely bamboozled by the fact that they did this. He knew about it beforehand. Obviously, he would have told his attorney about this because he told the entirety of YouTube about it. He posted it to his channel the day before. He knew it was going to happen. This was not out of nowhere. This was not a shock. He knew that this was going to happen. So obviously his attorney knew it was going to happen. Again, a request for more time is just that. It is just a request. It does not have to be granted. I'm not going to pretend I know the legalities of what the judge did by holding the bond revocation hearing immediately, but I have to assume he was within his right to do so, because if not, Craig's attorney probably would have objected.
This is, in my opinion, more than enough motive to want me thrown in a cage like a dog, as he has now done 4 separate times. Not only that, but the prosecution has added my attorney to their witness list in Vermilion County, which is where I'm going to trial on November 19th through the 21st. This could be problematic, as it is totally unconventional for a defense attorney to also be a witness at a trial. The government promotes a story that convinces people of the normality of this case. They want to paint me as just another criminal, and this case is just another case. The reality is that there's nothing normal about kidnapping a journalist to prevent further corruption and wrongdoing from being exposed. Some may recall my report a year ago exposing corruption and illegal activity within the city of Clinton and the city hall of Clinton, specifically the mayor's office, Jack Guilfoyle. The link to that video will be in the description below. As I said, that video dropped about 1 year ago to around this exact date. Coincidentally, the mayor of Clinton's assistant then claimed that I stalked her by going to the city hall and asking too many questions. Asking questions, recording while doing so, and publishing those recordings to the internet is not a crime. Though that won't stop butthurt public officials from kidnapping you for it. After the judge revoked my bond, he said that phone calls made by third parties, of whom I don't know, will be included in evidence to be used against me at trial. So what others have said is being used against me and to paint me in a bad light. Not only that, but the Judge Hunter Reese, who is an ex-cop, is considering allowing my criminal history to be used against me at a trial. Indiana Trial Rule 601, and this is what I believe from memory, it's Trial Rule 601, I believe it outlines the inadmissibility or admissibility of criminal history as evidence in trial to be used against a witness or a defendant. None of my history meets the requirements outlined in that trial rule.
I can only imagine the criminal history he is absolutely desperately hoping that they will not use against him in court is the strangulation, domestic violence, and confinement that he was charged with last year. He took a plea deal and pled down to domestic violence, but show of hands, how many people you know have been charged with strangulation? I can't imagine there's a lot of hands up here.
It looks as though this will be an uphill battle, especially if my report on the city of Clinton is not admitted as evidence. And it would be admitted as evidence because that was my purpose for being in the city hall. And now I want to talk about the bond revocation, a little bit of an update. When the judge decided that my bond would be revoked and put me into custody of the Vermilion County Jail, the prosecutor, Nina Alexander, this is the assistant prosecutor, put her hand up and asked to speak to my attorney in the back. Those two went to the back into a conference room and came out. My attorney came to me and said, "Craig, they just want you to admit that you've done something wrong." And they said they want me to plead a Class B misdemeanor. The charge is a felony. And a Class B misdemeanor is a very minor offense in Indiana. She told me that if I would just sign the Class B misdemeanor plea, that the state is going to put me on a probation, and they're going to let me out of jail. And I'll just go to Sullivan County and face the charges there. Of course, I turned it down unequivocally. I said I will not be admitting that I did something wrong because it is not the truth.
Of course he's not going to admit that he did something wrong. That would mean he would have to redo his entire personality. Because his entire personality is being a victim. His entire personality is being oppressed. The man loves attention so very much. Of course he is not going to admit that he did something wrong, even though all evidence is to the contrary. Having charges in multiple counties? Because keep in mind, this was a bond that was revoked. He already had charges in that other county. This is not like this just popped up out of nowhere. He was on bond for something he had done wrong previously. But again, how many times do you see a criminal actually take accountability for themselves? It's so much easier to blame things on other people, which is exactly what he does. I hope you enjoyed the update, guys. I am not going to play the rest of the video for the very simple fact it's him e-begging, and yeah, I'm just not in the mood to listen to it. We've seen enough of the e-begging lately, and frankly, it's just getting kind of old. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you would like to see, and I will catch you on the next one.